select a race course. Beginner. Please choose manual or automatic transmission. Automatic.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Congratulations! You place 7.
Now list your name with the other champions. M. B.